Hello and happy hump day. I'm Mo. This is Amy. And this is our video of the week where we talk about pop culture, whatever's trending in the media, um, true crime, court
Yes.
cases, and whatever the heck else we feel like it. This is our
hmm
dash of sass.
It's still us, Mo and Amy from the Flippin' Fantastic podcast. This is just our behind the scenes where we talk about everything and anything except reselling. Make sure you subscribe and take a listen. Bye.
Today we are
Yes.
talking about gold, greed,
Yes. And the hunt
the hunt.
for Finn's treasure.
So
Yeah.
this just aired on Netflix, and I told Amy I was watching it, and I was like, Amy, you got to watch this because we've talked about treasure hunting before. And this
Yeah.
is, if you're not acquainted with it, there's a lot of them out there, a ton of them out there. People hide treasure and they leave clues, and people try and find them. Some of the more famous ones in the past have been, now I remember this from being a kid. There was a book called Masquerade, and it was
Oh.
pictures and clues in it. But it was based in England, and it was like a hidden like rabbits or something, gold rabbits.
Oh.
I
Okay.
think that's what it was.
And it was nonfiction
Yeah,
or
so
fiction?
no, it was a treasure hunt. It was like this.
Oh, okay.
It
Oh.
was this.
Oh,
They
interesting.
hid, they had clues in the pictures, and they hid like these big old golden or gold rabbits.
Okay. I'm gonna have to
And
look
it
into
was
that.
like kind of like, I think people thought it was it was like in the 80s. I think people thought it was a children's book, and maybe that's how it was marketed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There were these
Wow.
gold rabbits. And then there's one I don't know if you heard of this one. The Secret, not to be confused with The Secret about manifesting stuff. This
Okay.
was The Secret in this guy. I can't remember his name, but he hid 12 boxes with treasure in it in different
Oh.
cities in the US. And again, it was like there was like pictures and I think maybe poems in the book. And
Okay.
out of those 12, only 3 have ever been found, and he
Oh.
is the only person that knows where they are. Like, he directed an artist to paint these pictures.
Uh-huh.
He was the only one that knows where they are, and guess what? He died in a car crash in the early 2000s. So
Really?
there's 9 treasures out there, and some people think that where they are, like, because he hid them in cities, and some people
Okay.
think that where they are have been like built, you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
you can't
yes,
even
yes,
get to them
yes.
now because stuff has been
Really?
built. I mean, it's been, decades. So,
Is this in the United
but anyways,
States? What part of the world is it?
yeah, though that was here. That was here in US. Yeah. I
Okay.
think one was found in like, I want to say, was it Chicago or not Chicago, but somewhere up there.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
forget.
I didn't
I
know
forget.
that.
But there's lots of videos on that one. So, check
That's
those out.
awesome.
Like I said, there's still 9 around, but like some of the thoughts are that you're never going to find them because of,
Yeah,
you know,
growth. Yeah, that's really
construction
cool.
and building.
Uh-huh.
But
I
so we both watched this one. So what?
yeah.
Now Amy watched it after I told her, and I think you took notes, right?
I I took notes, but like not like, notes, but it wasn't like I wanted to really watch it instead. And then I kind of got
Yeah.
sucked into watching and but I took notes afterwards. Because I was like, "Oh, well, first of all, I'm all over the place, guys. I had coffee today. I did. It was caffeinated too. Soon as Mo told me about this and said, "Oh, this is what it is, blah blah blah," I was like, "Wait a minute, this sounds really familiar." Because
Yeah,
a
I'd heard
couple
of
of
it
years
before too.
ago,
Yeah.
I had listened to a podcast called X Marks the Spot, and it was like I don't know how many, at least 10 episodes of it, and they would break down the poem and talk about it and stuff like that. And then at the end they were talking about another treasure and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool. I was like really intrigued by that podcast too. So anyway, when Mo told me to watch this, of course, I'm like all over the place and I'm like I'm like messaging Mo about it and I'm like super stoked. I'm like, "Mo, we need to bury our own treasure. We need to come up with our own maps." I'm sure you were like, "Amy has lost her mind," because I was all about it. I was so like into it because then, as I'm listening to watching the series, it was just bringing back the podcast, and I was like, "Oh yes, I remember this clue and this clue." But Yeah. So I'm sure if you're here, hopefully you have already seen or are interested in watching the Netflix series. So um let's see. Where should we start? I don't even know where we should start,
Well,
Mo.
let's just say that spoiler alert. I mean, it's not really spoiler. They the this Netflix show highlights some of the people that were searching for Forrest Fenn's treasure.
Mhm.
He was kind of like a dynamic guy. He had like a bunch of things going on, and he decided to hide treasure out west in the forest, some in the Rocky Mountains somewhere.
Mhm.
And he wrote a poem, and people have been searching for it. Well, it took about what was like a decade or something, right?
Yeah, he buried the treasure in 2010 and it had
Right.
over
Okay.
$1 million worth of gold and jewels. Well, I wonder if it was
Right.
I can't remember, was it a million the value then? Or was it a million value now? Because,
Well, it's
you know,
sold all those. So it was found. It wasn't
mhm.
found by anyone that was in the show. It was found, and didn't all like they auctioned off all the lots, and it was like I want to say it was just under like 3 million. It was like
Oh,
2 million
wow.
something for the
Okay.
things.
Yeah. That's that's true. So it must have been a million value at the time that he buried it. And then obviously the
Yeah, maybe.
interest, people want to, auctions go up because you're interested in it. But
Right, right.
yeah. And the poem was really long, not really long, but it was 20, I think it was 24 lines.
Oh yeah.
The
Hmm.
Forest Finn poem. So there was a
Yeah.
lot to like decipher and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And it
Yeah.
was in a book about his life, so he had things in there that would relate to like maybe like people were using clues about him personally,
Mhm.
which makes sense
Yeah.
to figure out what that poem was saying, like what he meant,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, based on because it was written by him. And yeah, so
Yeah.
um it was
In
found in Wyoming, right?
2020.
In Yellowstone.
Yeah, in 2020, so, like, 5 years
Yeah.
ago, by
Hmm.
Jack Stoof. I think that's how you say his last name? Stoof?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Stuef? Yeah, and he was a
Yeah.
medical student, so, yeah, and they didn't cover very much of him, so, I di you
No,
know?
and we only know his name because because he asked to be anonymous,
Mhm.
but then the family was getting so much nonsense from other people that they were like, look, here he is.
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of cool. And I thought the
Mhm.
best part was when they showed, well, one, the family, that they showed like different people, different treasure hunters. I think they like one was Justin, one was that lady. I
Mhm.
can't remember that lady's name. I want to say Cynthia. I can't remember.
Cynthia.
And
Cynthia. Yeah.
then those three guys. Oh my gosh, those three guys.
Yeah, the family.
Yes, those 3
The
guys
father and
when they
sons.
yes, when they were, like, just trying to, like 2 years, they spent, what, 2 years trying to get underneath that boulder? I just felt so bad. Like, cause you knew by the way it was edited that they weren't gonna be the ones that found that treasure, cause yeah, you could just
Oh
kinda
yeah,
tell.
yeah.
I just felt
Uh-huh.
so bad as they were talking about it, and, oh, it was just like, "Oh my gosh." That was just that's a lot of work, and, like, people were, losing jobs and stuff over trying to find this treasure.
I watched it with my husband, and he was like, because that those three, the three the family members, the father and sons, they're like, we're poor. They had a disabled sister, and their
Mhm.
mom took care of her, and they wanted to give. And my husband's like, if they just, he goes, all the time they spent on that boulder, they just got jobs. I was like, oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost, I mean, I understand it, but it's like some people like get so obsessed with it, you
Mhm.
know.
'Cause they knew in their heart, they knew in their soul that that's where that was, and,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
that's literally, like, everything, though, like Oak Island, like, the
Uh-huh.
California Gold Rush, anybody that probably gambles, like, it's that same, like, I know, the next one I'm gonna hit the jackpot, the next
Right.
one,
Right.
like, it's that.
Oh, Oak Island's a whole other episode. I love that whole thing. But
Oh,
anyway.
oh my gosh, Mo, me too. Me too. Yeah, we can bookmark that for another.
Yeah.
The person that came out like on top of all of this, what ended up being the series was basically about him was Justin Posey, and he was one
Yeah.
of the hunters or the
Hmm.
treasure hunters. And
Yeah.
but the star, I think, the absolute star from that series was Tucker. If anybody remembers Tucker, he was his Justin's cute little dog. He was his hunting buddy who
Yeah. Now the box, yeah, because the box was made of bronze and he
mhm,
trained him to sniff bronze and he could sniff bronze buried about up to 4 feet deep, right?
yeah, I think so. I think Justin would have found that treasure if he
If
was
it
able to
wasn't
take
in
Tucker.
the park,
Hmm.
if it wasn't in Yellowstone and he could have
Yeah.
taken him. I
Hmm.
think so too,
I
because he said he was there. He had been there
uh-huh. Yeah,
in
I
the
agree.
area where he was found.
And the other part that I was like, wow, this is amazing. This just shows you how dedicated you are. So the person that found the treasure, Jack, he took a photo of the treasure, unburied or whatever, and then he put it down on the ground and snapped a picture. Well, the picture was just like a close up of the box. And on the edge of the ground, you see like a piece of wood on the top side and then a piece of wood on the back side. And literally, that's
Yeah.
all you see is like grains of the wood, the
Right.
ground, and like some pine
Hmm.
cone straw and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
And
don't you
and
know?
remember
Oh,
he stripped all the it was cropped and he stripped all the
the
XFP, all the
geolocations.
data. Yep.
Yeah. And Justin found, or Justin took that picture and found that exact spot. Well, allegedly it was the same spot that Jack took
Looked
that picture.
looked pretty darn close.
I mean, that's some dedication that you are being able to determine the way the grains are in the wood and know this is the spot where he took that picture. You
I
know?
mean, how long did he walk
I
up and
know.
down, you know?
Yes.
Up and
Looking.
down.
Mhm. Well,
Like you have
clearly
to.
yeah, that's a trained eye. He probably was like
Hmm.
dreaming of that picture in his sleep, you know, to know all
I know. I
the
know.
details. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was really good. I liked it. And the thing that came out of it was that Justin buried a treasure, ended up doing his own basically. He wrote a book,
Yep.
he
Hmm.
published a book, and he buried a treasure too. And part of the treasure is some of the pieces from
Some of the things. Yeah.
Finn's treasure. Like he
Yeah.
bought them. And
He bought some of
mhm.
them. He was going to buy the. Remember, he had a deal to buy the whole thing,
Yeah,
and then I
it fell
guess
through.
it fell through. I guess
Hmm.
um the
Yeah.
what's his face was selling it, or if he sold it to the auction house, whatever talked him out of it, but
Hmm.
he so they sold it in lots, so it went
Yeah.
different places. And I think the grandson got the he did buy, they got the bracelet, right?
Who? Justin?
No, the grandson, his grandson, Shiloh, is it Shiloh?
Oh, oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, 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 yeah.
He got one of
It
there
was.
was there was a personal bracelet of Fenn's, Forrest Fenn's in there.
Yes,
So
I
I'm
forgot about
assuming
that.
he bought it, but so
Yeah, I would assume so too, because it was solid gold, right? Didn't they say it was
yeah.
solid gold bracelet?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So in preparation for all of this, I was like, so since there's that new, Justin has his own going out, he wrote the book, he's got the treasure buried. I was watching and listening this morning to a podcast that had Justin on. It just happened to like completely work out with us filming this morning, but it was a podcast and they had Justin on last night. So I was like listening this morning as I was getting ready, and it was pretty insightful. And so I thought that um, we would read, because Justin has a poem, Justin has a book that you can buy, but they're all out of physical copies of the book. So
I know.
he said that he is like when he was talking on this podcast, he said that he was on the phone. He had like a meeting to talk to the publishers about getting more physical copies. But I think you can
I
buy like I don't know if it's Kindle or whatever, but you can buy like an e-copy of the book, I think.
no, I didn't see a Kindle copy because I watched the show. I went on Amazon
Hmm.
and his book was like 60 or plus
Yes.
dollars. I was like, it's already sold out. What's
Y-
going on? I didn't
Yeah.
see a Kindle edition. Have to look. Or
I
you
thought
can
he said
do
that.
like the kid from the father sons. He went to the library and he
Oh,
was like, I
yes.
couldn't pay $90 for Fenn's book, and he copied everything.
Uh-huh.
He just copied all the pages.
Yeah.
Um,
But what was the name of the book is called Beyond the Map's Edge, right?
yeah.
Isn't that the name of the book? Yeah. And
Yep.
um I
Here's the
screamed
poem.
yes. So I thought we would read the poem. It's pretty short. It's not like super long. And we can talk about the what we think about it. What do you think? Do you want to read it?
Go
Do you want
for
me to
it.
read it? Okay. I'm going to read it off
Can
my
we
phone. Go ahead.
we can each take a paragraph. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yes, just
The
like in
teacher and me.
school.
You read the first paragraph and then you read the second. No, go ahead.
That's
You
true.
read it.
Okay. Oh, you want me to read the whole thing? Okay.
Yeah, just read it.
All right. It says, Beyond the map's edge, can you find what lives in time, flowing through each measured rhyme? Wisdom waits in shadowed sight for those who read these words just right. As hope surges clear and bright, walk near water's silent flight. Round the bend past the hole, and hole is in capital. Did you notice
Right.
that? So it's
Jackson
interesting.
Hole.
Maybe. And then okay. I wait for you to cast your pole. In what is this? In Ursa East, his realm awaits. His bride stands guard at ancient gates. Her foot of three at 20 degrees returns her. Oh, sorry. Return her face to find the place. Double arches on granite bold, where
Not arches,
secrets.
arcs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. It does. Arcs. See it? I'm glad you're reading it with me. Double arcs on granite bold, where secrets of the past still hold. Beyond the reach of time's swift race, wander. Does that say wonder or wander?
No, wonder.
Wonder.
Oh.
Okay. Wonder guards this sacred space. Truth rests not in clever minds, not in tangled, twisted finds. Like a river's steady flow, what you seek, you already know. So
The
that's
one
a.
thing that stands out for me is whole. I
Mhm.
mean, I just think if it's out there, I mean, because so Justin Posey, for those that don't know, he grew up where's he live? Arizona?
Like currently, I don't know. I'm not sure
Well,
where he lives.
anyway, he had like a grandfather who worked for like the Park Service or something, or Fish and Wildlife, something like that. And so
Hmm.
he went to all those places out like, he was familiar with Yellowstone and all those other places.
Hmm.
So I don't know. The whole being capitalized is the biggest, I don't know any of the places out there. I mean, I know them, but I don't.
Yeah, and
But that just
as
makes
you
me think
guys
of
can
Jackson's. It either makes me
exactly.
think of Jackson's Hole or Mel's Hole. Remember Mel's Hole?
Oh
There's another
yeah.
episode.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah. So clearly we are just infants in this treasure hunting business. Like we don't know anything. We are literally like
Mm-mm.
4 days old. So we don't have any knowledge of
Just a
astronomy or
baby.
we're just babies of astronomy or latitudes and longitudes. We're just talking about it because it's very interesting. But
Hmm.
there's also a map on the website. It's called treasure.quest. That's Justin's website where you can get all of this information. And the thing that popped out to me, as you can probably tell by the title or by the thumbnail, he included a map of
Of
like the
Alaska.
Alaska as well. Like he didn't put, Hawaii or the west or the eastern, coast or half of the
No,
United States. So
it's Rocky
my,
Mountains West and Alaska.
Alaska. And my initial gut when I saw this was it's in Alaska. It's in Alaska. Why would you include Alaska if it wasn't in Alaska? Do you know what I mean? Like you
I
would
don't
think you
know
would just
though.
put
I mean, he could be throwing people off.
he could be, but he could be. Like I don't know anything. I just my gut was like,
Mm-mm.
he included Alaska. Like I just think that's I don't know. I don't know. But so like I was saying, I listened to that podcast this morning
Yeah.
and they were asking a bunch of questions. Like they had people sending in questions and then the podcasters were asking questions. And these podcasters are treasure hunters. Like they actually, I don't know if both of them knew Justin, but they had treasure hunted with Justin. So
Oh, okay.
they they knew him and stuff.
Right.
So these are just some of the things I wrote down because they were like, okay, I know I'm gonna be all over the place. They were talking. Do you remember in the series they said Justin at the very end said that there are clues in the Netflix series that will help you. Do you remember that?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, one of those one of the questions was about the clues, and he said that the clues are all inside his house. So if like it's not just the whole series, but it's actual footage from in the house.
So
So
not
that's
oh, well, okay. Now that changed. Well, I was thinking, are they things like in the background, or is it things he said?
I
I was
think it's
thinking of
both.
things he said. Okay, but
It was
but it's when he was in his house.
it's in there. I think that the audible from what he said, I think it's the audible and visual clues are
Uh-huh.
in the house.
Right. So when
So
he's sitting down in his house is when you're looking for the clues, not when they did show him when he was outside with his dog and stuff like that.
yeah.
With Tucker.
So that once he said that, I instantly thought, oh, so that means his truck. Because remember how he had that topography map on his truck? Do you remember that? It was white truck with blue topography lines.
Yeah.
Well, that made me think, oh, that's not a clue, because
Yeah.
that was not in his house, that was at his house. So,
You know, remember how he was sitting in front of his computer screens?
oh, of course.
I mean, how many people have already, screenshotted and blown up to see what's on those screens?
That's some of the stuff I have written down too, Mo, is that like they talked a lot about that. But one of the things
Uh-huh.
that stuck out in my mind is they had screenshots of him sitting in the house with the screen in the background. And, he's got like 8 screens. I don't know. It's not specific. But in
Yeah.
one scene, there's a coffee cup. Another scene, there's 2 coffee cups. And then another scene, there's another just 1 coffee cup. So it goes 1 coffee cup, 2 coffee cups, 1 coffee cup. And then people are like dissecting the angle of the handles and stuff like that. And they're saying, just like, does that mean something? But then they said at the beginning of the episode, there's or was it episode 3? There's so much I can't remember. But he's using a combination lock. Do you remember that when he's turning a combination lock, and they show the numbers that he's turning the combination to? Do you
What was
remember
he
that at
doing?
all?
Why was he? No, I don't remember. See, I watched it. I just watched it. And then at the end, he was like, so I wasn't like paying attention to any of this stuff because he
Yeah,
was at the end, he was like, oh, and by the way, not even the producers know that I hid clues here.
yeah.
And I was like, what?
Well, he's playing with the combination lock, and they show the numbers. This is what they were saying, that
Hmm.
they showed the numbers 44, then the next number was 26, then the next number was 1, and then the next number was 10.5. It was in between 10 and 11, so they just assumed it was 10, like 10.5. And they
Right.
said that that is the latitude or longitude
Right.
for
For what?
9 for what's 9-mile hole. Do you remember they were
Oh,
talking
I
about
never
Nine
heard of
Mile
that.
Hole? Yeah, they were talking about that um
Oh,
in the Finn's Treasure, the Golden
where's
Greed.
9 Mile Hole?
I think it's in Wyoming, right? I don't know. Remember, we're babies. Don't come for us. We should we're babies. We're baby treasure hunters. We don't know anything. I can't remember.
We're
But
probably gonna stay baby treasure hunters.
oh yes, we're
Nine
gonna
Mile
stay.
Hole, Yellowstone.
Okay. So they think that was a clue to the starting point. Um, let's see. I'll just go over all these little clues that I found out. So they said that they think that's a starting point. He also said, Justin said that there are no red herrings, like are no intentional red herrings in
Hmm.
um the book or the, I guess, Netflix series. So that's good
Okay.
because, but you know how your mind plays tricks on you, and you could just produce your own red
Right.
herrings,
He
you
didn't
know?
make any. He's saying I didn't make a red herring, but people might be looking at his two coffee cups like, what's
Exactly.
that? You know?
Exactly.
And that's like,
Exactly.
you're making a red herring, you know?
Mhm.
And that's what happens in this. Like
Yeah.
in Forrest Fenn's treasure, people were making red herrings. Oh, well, he didn't really mean the treasure
Mhm.
um
Yep.
was literally hidden. We found the rock that looks like a bear and he cut off a bear's head, and you know what I mean? Like you're making your own red
Uh-huh.
herrings.
Yeah. Another one of the questions that somebody asked was, you remember how in the Finn's treasure was, it like led you to the location, but like the area, I should say. It led you to the area, and then that you found the treasure, right?
Right.
Or like, assuming so. But
Yeah.
Justin said that his treasure is, it leads you to the exact spot, like the exact spot. So I think that's kind of cool. There's no
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, it's in this 1 mile radius or whatever like that. So the clues are very specific. Well, I'm assuming that the clues are gonna, at least get progressively exact, so that you'll know
Yeah.
exactly
Uh-huh.
where it is. So I thought that
Right.
was kind of cool. Um,
Yeah.
what else? There's so much. Like he talked a lot about, like, I felt like he gave a lot of information. Okay, he did say that the hike, like the part of you hiking, is less than a mile. So it's not like crazy. I guess once you're not going to go on this, 10-day adventure into the woods, So he said it's less than a mile hike from, I don't know. That's what he said. I don't know if
Oh,
that
from
means
like a
like,
road, like a main road or something.
maybe he meant
But
like the last clue or something, that it's only like less than a mile hike. So, um, somebody said, somebody asked a question about snow. Like, is it going to be like dangerous? Will there be snow? And from what he said, I assumed that it does snow in this location, because he did say, I wouldn't put yourself in danger or something like that. So it snows. In my mind, it's going to be snowy at some point during the
right.
year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Let's
Well, I
see.
mean, it snows there too, because like it snows in, Wyoming. I mean,
Yeah.
they all get lots of snow. The
Hmm.
elevations in a lot of those places is, really high.
True. He did say that it is accessible. You don't have to pay to get to this place. Like, you don't have to pay like a fee, like a park fee or something. So, I was like, oh, okay, so it's like public land. It's on public
It's not,
land. You know,
well, yeah,
that's what I
I guess,
assumed,
I
because you
mean,
don't have to pay, right? Don't you? Don't, no, isn't that what you think of it too?
um, I
You
guess,
know.
I mean, if it's in a
Well,
park,
let's just say this. They said, do you have to pay any fee? And he said, as of today, which was yesterday's date, March 31st,
mm-hmm.
2025, he said, you don't have to pay anything. And somebody in the chat on this podcast said, well, that rules out like what Yellowstone or something, because you have to pay a park fee.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, so it's not in a national park if you have to pay any kind of fee to get in, right?
Right. But are there some like, so maybe it's like in a um, you don't have to pay to get into like a national forest or like a monument, right? Um,
Mm,
I don't know. Just
I
parks, right? And not
just
even all the time. I mean, you can drive on it's not hidden out here out east, but like Gettysburg, you can drive around Gettysburg. You don't have to pay a
Yeah,
park fee. You
yeah.
just, so I don't
I don't know. When I heard that, when I heard him say that you don't have to pay, my gut instantly went to, did he buy a small piece of property and bury it on that property? Like, literally bought like a a mile,
I know.
like 1 acre of land and buried it there. So
Right.
he owned that property. I don't know. That's where my gut
And
instantly went.
there's so much. I mean, the map. I'll bring the map up again. I'm still looking at it over here. The
Hmm.
map is, you can't really see it on our picture, but you know, there's lots of parks um and monuments out there. Like that's what's on this map.
Hmm.
Um,
I don't
like
know.
red. Do you do all of them have some? My point is, my point is, you don't always have. I know, like Yellowstone, like you pay a park fee to go in. Grand Canyon, you pay a day fee to go in or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But do you for all of these? I haven't been to most of these out there. So I don't know. Like I said, I can go drive the 2 hours to 2.5 hours to Gettysburg today, and I could drive all around and walk all around that park and I don't have to pay anything.
Uh-huh. Sure. Yeah. I think that's just it. Yeah, he's just saying you
So are
don't
there
have to
ones
pay.
so are there ones out there? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So are there ones like that out there? Where
You don't
and
have to
just drive
pay.
around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he I don't think he's necessarily saying it's even in one of those parks on that map. I think that's
Right,
just a
right.
map. So
Right.
that's
Uh-huh.
that's why I said my
Yeah.
gut instantly went to he bought an acre of land and he buried it there. That's just,
Yeah. The
my
also
gut.
is the title of this a clue beyond the map's edge? Like what is that
Mhm.
some sort of clue? Do you know what
I'm
I
sh
mean?
It's all a clue. I'm sure it's all a clue, right? Oh, and he also somebody said, "Is it buried?" And he said, "I'm just gonna say that you'll know it when you see it." And I instantly thought it's not buried because if you know it when you see it, means that you're gonna put your eyes on it like instantly. Because he said the the clues will take you to the exact location. So I think once you get to that exact location, you're going to see treasure, that treasure
I don't
box.
but wouldn't he have I mean, if it's in some place that's accessible to anybody, there's not like he'd have to hide it in some way, shape, or form because
Yeah.
some random Joe could
Mhm.
just, walk past a statue and there it is at their feet. Like you can't it has to
Mhm.
be some so like does he say it when you see it is because like the clue is like, oh, it's this thing and it's under there or something.
That's what I was thinking. I'm sure maybe it's like still not disguised, but strategically hidden. Kind of like on Survivor. You know how they hide the idols.
Right.
Like they're not
Right,
all
right.
necessarily hidden. I mean, buried. They're hidden. But
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, that's what
Right.
I think
Hmm.
too. Because he said, when you see it. Like that, I mean, you're not gonna like walk to that exact same spot and
Yeah.
then go, oh, now I have to dig it. Like I feel like it's gonna be like as plain as the nose on your face once you get to that exact spot, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So I thought that
I
was
don't
kind of
know.
cool.
The beyond the map's edge thing, I keep going back to that. Like, did he put it like is it off the coast of something? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Like, do you have to like on an island? Like like an Alaskan island? Maybe he bought an
Yeah.
island, Mo. Maybe he bought an Alaskan
One of the
island.
archipelago up there in
I'm like looking to see if any of those were written down, those
or the
clues.
Alaskan Keys. I don't know what do they call
I don't know.
those
Yeah.
islands.
Aleutian Islands or whatever they're called. I don't know. Okay. So he also said that they which I'm kind of confused by. He said that if you follow the clues will lead you to the path, obviously, to the treasure. He said that there
Hmm.
is a checkpoint. There's a checkpoint to let you know that you're on your right path. That's what he said. I wrote that down. Checkpoint to let you know that you're on the right path. And the question was, they said, so is this checkpoint a checkpoint for the treasure hunter or is it for you? And he smiled. So I feel like that the checkpoint is for both of them. Like, I feel like at
Yeah.
that checkpoint, there's going to be a clue, and maybe there's like
Mhm.
either there's like a camera, like a webcam or something, whatever, some kind of camera, or you open something and it kind of like triggers some like thing. So he gets an alert like, oh, somebody found the thing. So I know that somebody's on the hunt. They're almost there. They're halfway there. Do you know
Like
what
a
I mean?
little, like a geocache with a trail cam on it or something.
Yeah, something. I don't know. That's just what I thought of, but I'm sure it's a little more advanced. Like, you know?
Yeah. So I wanna know, in the one thing that stuck out with me, it just stuck out with me because it's like, "Oh my god."
Uh huh.
Um, in the Fenn documentary,
Mm-hmm.
he talked about, like, stuff he likes to do. Like, he's a computer guy, you know? I mean, he basically did that software that scanned faces, and he was like, "Well, Fenn, it's in Yellowstone." Like, that's why he
Mm-hmm.
thought it was Yellowstone because of
Yeah.
the his facial reactions. Um, and anyway, he said, "I like to do these," he was going through things that he does, and he was like, I'm trying to figure out X-ray vision or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
Remember he said that?
Something like, yeah, yeah.
I was like, "What in the world?"
Well,
Anyway, it made me think radiation, and it made me think of like there's a lot of uranium mines like out that way. I know there was one near the Grand Canyon at one point.
so
Was it uranium or
so
something?
thinking,
Anyway,
what were you thinking about with the uranium? Like, what do you mean? Like that?
no, I was just he was talking about X-ray vision. It makes me think of radiation, right?
Okay.
And it makes me think of, like uranium, like because it's radioactive, and
Yeah.
there's mines out there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
old mines and stuff.
I don't think you would involve
I'm sure
uranium
I'm sure
because that's a
no, but
poison.
no, I'm not saying you're looking for uranium. There are
Oh.
old mines
Oh, okay.
where
Hmm.
I'm sure I'm like red herring in myself. Oh, look, I'm never gonna find this treasure, but I just it made me think of that because there's all kinds of mines out there. There's um,
Mm-hmm.
everything from gold to lead to, like I said, uranium and
Yeah.
um that kind of thing. Anyway,
True.
I just
But
that just stuck out to me. I wasn't thinking when I watched it, I wasn't thinking clues because I
you
watched
didn't
it the
know what
day
to
it came out.
expect. Uh-huh.
I watched it the day it came out and I was like, "Oh, I remember this Fenn treasure." And I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Oh, somebody found it." So, "Oh, let me watch this." And I wasn't thinking he was giving clues or anything, but I just thought that was funny and it stuck out to me. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this guy's like some evil scientist, mad genius or something?"
Almost like a well, like Elon Musk, like that, beyond
Yeah,
the norm. Like you're thinking outside the box, which is obviously,
right.
what is it? Beyond the edge. But
Yeah. Mhm.
you just said, when you were just talking about it, you just said, I'm never gonna find it. Mo, he also said, and one of the things he said was a fair amount of the clues you are solvable from home. So it is, he said, a fair amount. Obviously, you have to have some boots on the ground, but a
Right.
fair amount you can do on your own just by, looking at maps and stuff like that, and getting. We're gonna do it, Mo. We're gonna try. We're gonna try to find it, at least some of it. So that was one of the things I thought was kind of interesting that he said. Okay,
Mhm.
he said that, obviously we just talked about this. He said that there are hints in the series that guide you in the book. So the series hints or clues help you in, I guess, maybe in, I interpreted it as the hints in the series will lead you to where to look in the book for additional clues. I don't know. That's just what I took from that. What is that, where like that whole, the combination lock, those, that, longitude, does that lead you to a place on a map on page 54? I'm not sure. I don't know. And let's see what else. This was like the last one I wrote down. He said that the whole treasure and the container weighs over 60 pounds. Like, he said this on the podcast. So he said he actually put it all together, put it all in the treasure box,
Wow.
and he weighed the treasure box, and it was over 60 pounds. So that's it's pretty substantial, you know?
Yeah.
So um yeah, I'm I think that's exciting to check it out. And I think it's in Alaska. I'm I'm planting my flag in Alaska, Mo. We did see there are some like discords and things for this that talk about all like that talk about all of them, like, you know, the Finns one, this one. And
Right.
then we saw that there are tons of, well, maybe not tons, but there are dozens of other active treasure hunts
Mm-hmm.
um going
Yep.
on. And I just think that's really, I think that's really cool. What do you think? You think
I
you think we're
know.
gonna find
Yeah,
this
I was
treasure?
looking at it. Apparently, there was something on one of those Discord you sent me, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like sign up for this because it tells you where some of them are. And technically, I can't sign up for it because I'm in a state that does not allow it. I don't.
Okay.
What they called it
I don't
skilled
remember.
gaming.
Oh, yeah, something like that. But that doesn't mean like you live close enough to borders of other states that maybe those states have uh
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
active, you
But
know.
like when you put your name and your state in there, it was like you can't sign up for this. Or no, I couldn't find Delaware. And it's like if your state's I'm like, why isn't Delaware on here? And they're like, if your
Hmm.
state's not on there, it doesn't allow skilled gaming. I'm like, what does that mean? I
Huh.
don't know.
I didn't look to see if I had it in Virginia. But I don't know. I'll have to do that. But I just wanted to shout out that um that podcast that I was listening to. I sent I sent you a screenshot of their logo because
Oh
I thought
yeah.
the logo was really cool. But it is
Man.
what is it? How do you say it? Cal Cal Lazars? Cal Lazars, right?
Hold on, here it is.
There it is.
Calazars. Well, it makes me think
Calazars.
of Calazars. I don't know what the meaning is.
Mm-mm.
Lazar makes me think of Bob Lazar.
Yes, I think that's it. I was going to say that too. I was like, they are obviously also into UFOs, obviously because of their logo.
Right.
But I wonder, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's funny. So shout out to these guys. I watched the most of it. I'd say like 35% of their podcast because I was trying to like prep for today. So uh go follow them guys and listen to that podcast with Justin. He was their guest. And he was our guest 2 days ago from the day that we published this. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
definitely you go check them out. You should check it out too, Mo. Like if you're
Yeah, I will.
doing your day job, you can listen to it in the background. It's really interesting. I think you'll like it. So
Yeah,
shout out to them and go watch that Netflix series, guys. It's really interesting. And
it's
also,
fun. Yeah.
if you are like really into it, check out the podcast on Spotify or whatever. It's called X Marks the Spot. It's
Mhm.
really interesting too. So, oh, and since we we typically do this thing at the end, Mo lives in Delaware, specifically the same city as Biden, and we do this thing on every one of our episodes. It's called Biden Watch, and I have to ask Mo if she has seen Biden. Have you seen Biden?
No,
No, Biden.
no.
Darn. One
It was
day
a
she
nice
will run
weekend,
into
so
him.
it makes me wonder if he went to his beach house.
Oh, see? Pack
He
your
might have
bags,
been in
Mo.
Rehoboth, but I wasn't
Pack your
down there,
bags
so.
and go to Rehoboth. With that, guys, stay sassy. Bye.
Thanks so much for watching and check out more of our videos right here. Stay sassy.